Okay, so, hey guys, thank you for joining me. Today I'm just going to be talking about the story of the SMF. Now, what was this? This was the kind of thing that every kind of teenager does when they're a little bit stupid and they're a little bit a fan of Jackass and a little bit a fan of making videos. And this was the YouTube stunt group that I started with a number of my friends way back in 2012. And this is the story of what we did, why it didn't work out, and everything in between. I tell you not to try things at home, although they definitely could do that more emphatically, I think. But the fact of the matter is, people are going to try stuff like that at home, and we were no exception. We were not professionally trained, but we did, to be fair, we had brains in our head. We weren't, like, just complete idiots doing this kind of stuff. Like, I feel like a lot of people that emulate this kind of thing are just going for shock factor or for laughs or just to like genuinely get hurt and do really stupid things. We weren't that stupid, we didn't really want to hurt ourselves or each other. We didn't want to do anything like that was just unsafe or was just stupid to do, like those dickheads who throw fireworks at each other and stuff like that. We were never going to do anything like that. It was for fun. It was just things we enjoyed doing that we thought were funny. Obviously, it's still not really safe to do this kind of thing, especially when you're not trained for it. It's not safe at all, though, really, at the end of the day. But we all managed to get out of it uninjured. So, that's a pretty good start. But at the end of the day, it was a little bit stupid. There's no getting around that. It was a little bit stupid. So, the SMF. Essentially, how did this come about? So, when you're in your last year of school, it's not uncommon for people to start having house parties and stuff. And, for me, that was my best friend started having people over in his garden all the time. His garden was huge, right? And there was like a fire. We'd always put a fire in the middle of the garden. He had like a fire pit. We'd always put a fire in the middle of the garden. And then you'd just get pissed and, just dick about in the garden all evening, basically. And that's sort of just to set the scene for kind of where we're going from here, really. So fast forward about a year after that, about a year after we started having these house parties, we were over one night, and this is the one night in which we filmed everything we did in the SMF. So first of all, I'll give you the story behind the name. The SMF was an abbreviation of The Stupid Motherfuckers. I got this title from a Lordi song called Bringing Back the Balls to Rock. We're the SMF with metal hearts. And there must have been some time between me getting obsessed with this phrase, like the SMF, and us actually doing the stuff, because I'm pretty sure I remember quite distinctly watching a lyric video for that song at the guy's house back in like September time, and this was like December when we actually recorded all this stuff. But like, that's where the name came from. So it's The Stupid Motherfuckers. The S is already inside the abbreviation, so it's never the SMFs. I was quite emphatic about that. And on that one evening, we decided to do this stuff. So this was around the time that Viva was a TV channel, and they had Jackass, South Park, and Fresh Prince. So whenever I'd finish watching South Park or Fresh Prince, Jackass might come on. And if you didn't just turn straight over, then you kind of, I started watching it and eventually came to realise that it was something that I was quite into. In fact, actually, another thing that played a role was Balls of Steel. This wasn't really as sort of physically stunty. There was definitely elements to it that were, relevant to that kind of thing. And actually, I think I started watching Balls of Steel at the first house party we had. So it's interesting how things work out. When I was younger, I was quite young when Jackass, like the movies, first came out. So, it was kind of drilled into me by like my parents that it was just something stupid. Like if I saw like a Jackass movie poster, I'd be like, "What's that?" And they'd be like, "Oh, it's just something daft." And when you're that sort of age, that kind of stuff that your parents tell you just kind of gets drilled into you. My parents are very sensible with stuff like that, so really I just grew up thinking that Jackass was like some really stupid thing that I didn't have time for. But actually, when I actually watched it, I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed Balls of Steel too. Both of those were quite a laugh. That is basically what inspired it. And it was one episode of Jackass where Ryan Dunn is asleep on this like sofa outside, and Bam Margera comes towards him with like a tennis ball and a tennis racket, just hits him in the nuts with the tennis ball. And I don't know why, but that made me think like this actually This is pretty funny. Like, this is actually seems like something that would be quite fun to do. So I think I mentioned it to the guy. I'm not going to name names in this, by the way. I mean, to be honest, it would probably be polite for me to take the videos down, to be quite honest, like, you know, but I don't really know how people feel about that, but, you know, anyway, I think I might have mentioned it to the guy. We might have talked about it a bit, and then basically one day when we were at their house getting drunk and everything, this was December 2012, we decided to actually start filming some stuff. So we did a couple of things there. We got a fair bit done that night, and ultimately that was the only thing that we ever really did. Like, that was the only meeting we ever really had to do that kind of stuff. So we had 2 videos that did pretty well. All of the videos did quite well by my standards, by the kind of amount of views I tend to get on YouTube on various channels. The SMF videos did better than like average on that, I would say. But there was 2 videos that did particularly well, especially for myself. One of them was my big stunt, which was knocking your phone to the dick. Because the guy whose house we were going over to, it was like a magical place where there was just like things from all manner of time hidden away all over the house. So when we started doing the SMF stuff and we wanted to do something daft, we started looking around the house for like things we could use. And one of the things we found was a Nokia phone, and I said, you know, someone's going to have to take this to the dick. It being my suggestion, me being the one who was willing to do it, it fell on me. Quite literally. Well, it didn't fall on me, it was thrown at me. That was knocking your phone to the dick. I was laid on the floor. One of the guys threw the phone at me in the dick. I remember the first one hit me right in the nuts. Oh! You know, it's that kind of impactful thing when something like smacks your nuts rather than getting like punched or kicked. Like when something actually hits you in the nuts, it's that kind of burning sort of stinging pain. And I was like, oh, that hurts so bad, you know. And I like, you know, I was like in pain from that. And the guy behind the camera goes, oh no, one more time. And I'm like, wow, we didn't agree to this. But, you know, in that kind of situation, you're already down the rabbit hole. So I just laid back down. He threw the phone again. The second time hit me right on the penis. Oh! You bastard! And I don't know whether it's because I was there and it was my penis. But I kind of feel like in the video you can kind of see it. Like not, you can't see my, like, it itself, but like you can see that that's where it hits, just from the sort of position where it hits my jeans. Because, you know, if it's veering off to the side, which it was at the time, it's just sort of exactly where it would be, sort of naturally. And yeah, it hit me right on the shaft. That didn't really hurt much less than the first one, if I'm honest with you. My big regret with that stunt was the fact that I was wearing jeans, because it kind of always bothered me. No one ever commented this or anything, but it kind of always bothered me that, you know, when you've got jeans on, there's that kind of like flap that comes sort of over your crotch. Most of the time, like if you have your legs like this, there's kind of like this flap here, you know. And the phone very well hit me in the dick, but, you know, you could easily argue that it just looks like it did, but that the jeans actually absorbed, like the jean sort of canvas there kind of just absorbed all the power. It always kind of bothered me that it looked like that. But, you know, especially since I'd just been hitting the dick with a phone twice, so I didn't want it to look like it was fake. You know, so that always kind of bothered me about it. No one ever commented it, like I say, but that was the sort of second biggest thing that we did. I think that has something like 1.4k views now, so that's really good compared to, like, you know, some of my channels, like my channel average. The other one that we did that did really well was called Dick of Fire. And this basically involved spraying deodorant in the shape of a penis on one of the guy's bodies. And it took a good couple of goes. It took us a while to get it laid on thick enough for it to actually light. And then we lit it on fire and just, I mean, you have to douse it straight away, but for just a split second, you get this blue flame dick on his torso. Fuck! It's quite incredible. It's quite spectacular to look at. That one was really good. That one really deserved the views, I think. Out of all of them, that probably deserved the most views. I got 1.7k views, I think, in the end. It really was quite interesting. They were the major ones. They were the ones that did the best. But we had a couple of other ones. So we had one we tried a couple of times was like a fire high five. So again, a couple of guys sprayed deodorant all over their hands, lit it, and then smacked it out. Fuck shit! That was pretty cool. Again, it took a couple of goes to get enough deodorant on it, and we did it a couple of times to make sure we got a good video of it. Yeah, that one was pretty cool. We also did one with like a can of lighter fluid, with like a block of wood, where the guy sort of held it down on the wood, lit it. It didn't really. The first one was a bit of a whiff. It didn't really work. The second one, you got this kind of rather satisfying like bulb of flame on the top. It's quite satisfying to look at. And the third one, he holds the can down for a lot longer, lights it, it blows, and like...
No, Andrew's gone.
Oh, that was terrible. Wait, we'll do it.
Whoa, shit.
I want to pick up the piece of wood.
wait, this is going to be epic.
Wait. Fuck! It could have quite easily taken us both out, you know, because I'm filming it, he's doing it. It could have quite easily taken us both out, but the worst part is, it actually, when he stops spraying it and puts it down, he puts it down next to the block of wood. So it could have easily caught that can, blown up the whole place, like blown up the whole front room, took us all out. Very easily that could have happened. That was definitely the most dangerous, kind of irresponsible thing we did. That was probably the least we thought through. Because it's literally just setting a spray of, like, lighter fluid on fire. You know, you've got to be very careful with the can in that situation, and in that particular instance, we were not. So that was dangerous. We also had a couple of like failed videos. We did another one with we had these like wooden swords. Again, sprayed them with deodorant, set them on fire, and tried to have a sword fight with them. We only got about 2 hits out of them before they went out though, so it didn't really work. I think we put that footage in the promo video, which reminds me of the lighter fluid one. I completely missed off when I first uploaded the videos. It was only later on when I went back and looked in the folder again that I even found the video that, you know, it was there. I completely forgot we'd done it. Yeah, the flaming swords didn't really work. It makes you wonder though why we relied so heavily on doing stuff with deodorant when we had a can of lighter fluid at our disposal. I mean, maybe we were trying to be a little bit more careful. I feel like if you're lighting wooden swords on fire, lighter fluid's probably the way to go. Maybe if you're lighting yourself on fire, perhaps it isn't. Another thing we did was the same guy who did Dick of Fire, lighter fluid, and was like half of the fire high fives, and threw the phone at my dick. It just sprayed deep heat all over his balls. But unfortunately, I didn't get the footage of that. He'd already done it by the time I started filming. So I've just got a video of him riding around on the floor. But that did actually lead to one of the funniest SMF moments when his mum comes downstairs wondering why we're making so much noise. And she's like, "What the fuck you doing frying bacon at 1 in the morning?" And he's just riding around on the floor and he goes, "We like bacon." That's like one of the best SMF moments we got, really, to be honest, just that line. That's more or less everything that we got out, though, at the time. Because, as I say, we just did that one session, and we got quite a few clips out of that one session, but ultimately, we at the time, we didn't really know what we were doing, we didn't really know what we were going for, or what we were going to, like, use it for, or, like, how we were going to sort of build a show out of it, I suppose, like, build a series out of it. So, you know, we just had these clips, and we went from there, and over the next couple of weeks, we just brainstormed loads of ideas. We had this list of things we wanted to do, called it Shit to Do, or the STD list. And we had loads of things. There was like 30, 40 ideas we had written down on this. And this is bearing in mind that most of the good stuff that you're going to come up with in a situation like that, you're going to come up with on the fly when you're in the situation and you're looking at what you have available to you. Unfortunately, we never did anything on the STD list because I didn't really get invited over for quite a while after that. And then eventually me and the main guy kind of fell out. Because of that, and because of his brother had some personal problems we won't really get into here, we didn't really see each other for years. Like, I think the next time we saw each other was when his brother invited us all over. I think either summer 2014 or like September 2014. I think that was the first time we got back together. So we hadn't seen each other for a while, because again, this was December 2012 when we had filmed all this stuff in the first place. And then we kind of, you know, we had a couple of things where we saw each other, and really we just wanted to sort of meet up and have a laugh. You know, we hadn't seen each other in a long while. And, you know, there was a lot of wasted time there where, you know, we just didn't see each other. We just weren't really, like, you know, we weren't in contact anymore, kind of thing. It was a bit of a shame because we kind of had this plan where one of the guys actually got conscripted to the Singaporean army. And he was going to be gone for 2 years. And the idea was that when he came back in 2015, we were either going to take him to Amsterdam for like a trip and do like a special video kind of thing, or we were going to take him back to Singapore, which realistically speaking, even if the plan had worked, we probably wouldn't have done that. That would have probably still been too much effort for us. So we'd have probably gone to Amsterdam either way. But the idea, you know, was that we were going to build this channel over 2 years, and then when we were going to take it to Amsterdam, do like a special video on that, and you know, it was going to be a laugh. Unfortunately, we spent that entire time more or less not seeing each other. We might have met up like once, twice. So yeah, we had that. I thought that was a great idea. It gave us a great time scale to sort of grow the channel for 2 years and then do like a big special video in Amsterdam. But yeah, we literally saw each other like the reunion show, the reunion sort of meetup in 2014. I was gonna say reunion show as a joke there, but then I thought like it might be misconstrued as I meant like we were gonna film something. We were never gonna film something at that point because, you know, we just wanted to hang out again really. And then as we started seeing each other more regularly again, we started talking about it, and we'd start saying like, okay, well, we're gonna start. We should start doing some SMF stuff again, and it never happened. We always talked about it, but it never happened. We didn't really plan anything new. We'd meet up, and then we just wouldn't do anything. And you know, it was kind of like. So I never really gave up on the dream. I kind of always wanted to like come back to it and do it again. And you know, they'd say like whenever we were going to get together, they'd say like, you know, oh, we'll do some SMF stuff, and it was really easy for that group to lure me to anything really, to be honest with you. But you know, I'd never really given up on the dream, so I really hoped like we would start doing stuff again, and it just never happened, which was a bit of a shame. Of course, one of the main ironies of the whole thing was the fact that, you know, we did so many things with fire, and one of the things that I sort of ended up putting my foot down about was the fire that we always had whenever we met up in the garden. You know, eventually I started saying, look, I'm not coming if we have a fire. I'm sick of that. Because, you know, they get to a point where you spent your entire life since the age of like 14, 15, where you'll wake up on someone's floor, hair everywhere, just reeking of smoke. Every part of you just stinks of smoke. And you've got to get 2 buses home, hungover, and then go in the bath and desperately try to get the smoke smell out of your hair and put everything in the wash. And, you know, there came a point where I was just like, and I remember I was so self-conscious as well, because I'd get on the bus and I feel like everyone was staring at me. Everyone could smell that I just stank of smoke. Everyone thought I'd been up to no good. And I remember actually there was one time where one of the guys, I won't tell you his name, went to like a job centre meeting or a job interview or something, and the guy... we said to him, where were you last night? And he's like, oh, it's just in the garden having drinks. Why? And the guy's like, oh, because someone petrol bombed Pound Shop last night. So that was quite funny. But yeah, I really hated that. So in the end, I basically was like, right, I'm not coming if we're having a fire. And, you know, it was something I put my foot down for in the end, which is quite ironic considering how much stuff we did with fire. But yeah, we never really did much else, although I did pick up a little bits of footage here and there. So first of all, one thing I did was in 2016, when I was like going on nights out, and me and a completely different guy would go, like we're walking home from a night out. I found a pint. We walked past this pub and I found a pint outside, and I went, drink this. I wish I had footage of that, man. I've got a picture of it, but I don't have any video footage of it. He literally just downed the pint off the street. It was so funny. You know, about 5 minutes later, we came across one of those sort of roadblock barriers, you know, the plastic barriers with the holes in the middle. And I was like, dive through that. And I did get a video of that. So we got that on film. We got the footage of that. And there was a couple of other things. There was like one time when we all met up, and there was these 2 wooden ladders that the guy whose like house we went to, his mum was like throwing out. So 2 of the guys had a fight with the wooden ladders. It didn't really last very long. It went wrong very quickly, but you know, that was a laugh at the time.
This ended awfully quickly.
I got a couple of videos as well over the years of like when we'd made like the fire too big and just done ridiculous things, and these were just videos that were living on my phone until I eventually made them into a video called How to Build a Fire. That was quite an interesting one, to be honest with you, because as I say, it was literally just a joining together of videos I already had of the times we just made the fire crazy. And one of the clips in it is basically we had this mini keg, and someone throws it on the fire, and we're all like, whoa, what have you done there? And run off sharpish. There's a keg! And now we're gonna fuck up.
Oh, fuck that!
hide behind the wall. Actually, there's a great bit there where I realise I'm filming it and I'm not behind the wall. You know, I'm just out in the open. I'm not under any cover at all.
You're gonna get under the wall.
Yeah, perhaps.
That's spooning a fucking wall.
Eventually, there's this little fizz sound, and we're all like, oh, the caps come off. That's boring. Didn't even explode, you know. Oh! And it start walking back over to it. I kick the keg in the fire. I start walking off. It fizzes again. I turn back and it pops. And I jumped so bad. Like, that scared me so much. But ultimately it was just another little explosion. It was a bit of a disappointment. And that wasn't actually the first time that had ever happened to us. The Singaporean soldier had actually done that to us before as well in one of the earlier parties. He'd taken a can of hairspray or something, I think, and thrown it in the fire, and everyone there just ran off. And we stood there for like 5 minutes, like hiding, waiting for this explosion, and just nothing happened. So I don't know what's going on with that fire and not blowing things up, but you know, it's probably for the best. I don't know what kind of like anti-scientific thing is going on there, but you know, it's probably for the best. No one got injured, and that's the important part, really. And the only other thing we got other than that really was a video called The Fireball Game. This was completely impromptu. Again, we were just sat around the garden, around the fire, and we started dipping newspaper in the fire, balled up newspaper, and throwing it at each other. It was incredibly dangerous. It was incredibly stupid. Do not try it at home. But thankfully, by some grace of God, none of us got injured. One of the guys actually, like, he was like waving one around, and then it started, like, the heat started getting to his fingers, so he threw it. It landed on his own head, and yeah, we had to kind of scuffle to put that out quite quickly. He had sparks all over his head. It was really dumb, but like no one got more injured than that, really, so that was all right. But yeah, it was a really stupid thing to do. But we didn't really plan to do that. It's just something we started doing, and I started filming it. We also got a video of a guy trying to eat a tub of coleslaw, which he eventually has to give up doing because it's a tub of coleslaw, man. Have you ever tried to eat a whole tub of coleslaw? Nah. Unless you like really like coleslaw, you're not doing it. So yeah, that's more or less it. You know, personal issues kind of divided the group really, and made us miss a lot of time, and then we never got back around to doing stuff again. It was a very fun time. You know, we really enjoyed making the stuff, and we really enjoyed watching it back, and you know, we really enjoyed sitting in our lessons planning out like what we were going to do next and stuff like that. But it just wasn't meant to be, really. I think at the end of the day, I mean, for a long time I was really disappointed. For a long time I really wanted to go back to it and make something of the channel. You know, it was good fun, and it got a lot more views than kind of like a lot of the channels I worked on. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't meant to be. I wouldn't say that I am particularly broken up about it now. I wouldn't say that I'm really that bothered. I don't think I'd really bother anymore. You know, I think at a certain point, it was like, what, like going on 9 years ago this December, that we started doing the things. I mean, you can only hold on to something for so long, and I've been watching like Jackass and stuff recently, which is probably what's prompted me to make this video, really. And you know, it didn't in any way make me want to make more stuff. In saying that, I probably would do it if the interest was there. If the other guys wanted to do it, I'd maybe give it a go. But I think at the end of the day, with all the projects I want to do and all the things that have failed and that I'm disappointed by, this isn't the winner. Like, this isn't the biggest thing, the biggest disappointment I've ever faced, or the thing that I'd like to succeed most now. So I don't think it really matters all that much. But yeah, this was the story of the SMF. So thank you for watching this, and goodbye. Hey, technology, who would work with it? It is really raining out down there. It is really raining outside now. Fucking hell. I have no idea if the stream's working or not. I have no idea if there's people in it or not. I cannot see it. It is what it is, I suppose. Bear with me. Dog wants to come in. Oh, you get no peace in this house. I'm never going to be able to like actually live stream things properly, because if it's not a human being disturbing me, it's going to be a dog.